So today I want to do a deep dive comparison between the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 14 for anyone who might be weighing an upgrade or even just curious how far Apple's come in 3 years. You might look at these two phones side by side and think, surely there can't be that many changes in a 3-year span, right? But trust me, the gap between these devices is enormous. If you're holding on to the iPhone 14 and you're wondering if you should upgrade to the iPhone 17, this is the comparison you need to hear, guys, before you spend your money. Let's kick things off with the design because that's where the first differences are immediately obvious. The iPhone 14 basically carried over the same look Apple's been using since the iPhone 12. We're talking the flat aluminium rails, a glossy glass back that loves collecting fingerprints, and of course that big notch at the top of the screen. At launch it looked familiar and safe, but by today's standards, it's already starting to feel outdated. The iPhone 17 on the other hand shows just how much Apple's come in the last few years. It inherits the modern design language introduced with the iPhone 15 and refined with the 16, with the subtly rounded corners that make it more comfortable in the hand, thinner bezels that shrink the black border around the screen, and a matte frosted glass back that instantly makes the phone feel more premium. The star of the show on the front though is of course the dynamic island. When Apple first unveiled it on the iPhone 14 Pro, I remember thinking it was more of a gimmick than a must-have feature, but fast forward to now and it's obvious the island is here to stay. Apple keeps adding clever animations and live activity integrations, things like name drop, sports scores, music controls, things that make the notch on the 14 look downright ancient. Developers are also starting to take advantage of the additional space, so the longer you hold onto a notched iPhone, the more dated it's going to feel, as apps increasingly treat the island as the new normal. The new design isn't just about looks, it also feels better. The frosted matte glass on the 17 is a huge upgrade over the glossy glass on the 14. If you've been annoyed by fingerprints and smudges on the back of your phone, the difference is night and day. Even if you keep your phone in a case, you'll notice how much grippier and more luxurious the matte finish feels. And the color options this year are pretty great. We can pick from lavender, mist blue, sage, classic black and white. The bold without being over the top, and compare that to the iPhone 14's pastel shades and the notoriously inconsistent midnight starlight finishes, and it's not even close. The only thing you might miss is product red, which Apple hasn't brought back for the regular models. If you absolutely need a red iPhone, the 14 is your only option, though personally I'd rather have the improved hardware and pick a nice case instead. Before we move on, let me quickly say this: if you're enjoying this in-depth comparison, hit that subscribe button and tap the new hype button. It really helps a small channel like mine reach more Apple fans, and it means you'll never miss my latest takes on everything happening in the Apple world. Now let's talk about the size and display, because Apple's made some big strides here. The iPhone 17 now supports a 6.3-inch panel, up from 6.1 inches on the 14. It's a small increase on paper, but the contribution of the larger panel and slimmer bezels make it feel noticeably more immersive without making the phone too big to handle. And this isn't just about size. For the first time ever on the base iPhone, you get ProMotion, Apple's adaptive refresh rate technology that goes all the way up to 120Hz. That means everything, scrolling, swiping, animations, feel buttery smooth in a way the 14's fixed 60Hz panel simply can't match. Once you've experienced it, it's hard to go back. The 17 also adds the always on display, another feature that used to be reserved for the Pro line. You can now glance at the time, widgets, or notifications without waking the phone, and because of the LTPO technology that ProMotion enables, it can drop the refresh rate way down to save battery life. Speaking of battery, we'll get to that in a moment, but these display changes play a massive role in the 17's improved efficiency. Brightness is another area where Apple has leapt forward. The 14 maxed out at 800 nits of brightness outdoors and 1200 nits for HDR content, but the 17 cranks outdoor brightness up to a massive 3000 nits. If you've ever tried to read your phone in direct sunlight, you just know how big of a deal this will be, even on a bright summer day, and yes, we do occasionally get that here in the UK. The 17 remains perfectly legible, protecting that display ceramic shield too, which Apple claims is 3 times more scratch resistant than the version on the 14. Both phones still carry an IP68 rating for water and dust, but the extra scratch protection gives the 17 a durability edge. Performance is another area where the difference is night and day. The iPhone 14 shipped with the A15 Bionic, which essentially was the same chipset the 13 Pro had. It was fast then, and it's still quick today, but the 17 features a brand new A19 chipset, built in Apple's 3rd generation 3nm process. We're talking about a 6-core CPU, a 5-core GPU with a neural accelerator baked into each core, and a beefed up 16-core neural engine. There's also 8GB RAM, up from 6GB on the 14. That's a lot of jargon, but essentially, it not only makes 17 more future-proof for demanding apps and games, but it also enables Apple Intelligence, Apple's suite of on-device AI features. The 14 simply won't get that capability. Even if you're not into AI right now, it's clear Apple's going to weave these features deeper into iOS over time, so having a phone that can run them is going to matter. Despite all the extra power, the 17 actually delivers significantly better battery life. Apple rates it for up to 30 hours of video playback or 27 hours of streaming, which is a massive jump over the 14. In real-world usage, I would say that's pretty accurate, and I'm sure there's many of you guys on older 14s with poor battery health. Part of this comes from the more efficient A19 chips and part from the new adaptive power mode in iOS 26 that intelligently manages battery consumption based on your usage. Charging is faster too. With a 40-watt high adapter, you can get up to 50% in about 20 minutes, compared to roughly 30 minutes on the 14. MagSafe and Qi 2 wireless charging are supported at 25 watts, and while the USB-C port on the 17 is still limited to USB 2 speeds, it is far more convenient than the Lightning port on the 14. Connectivity sees some of the biggest generational jumps. The 17 includes Apple's new N1 networking chip, bringing Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread support for smart home accessories. It also carries a second-generation ultra-wideband chipset for more precise location tracking and better integration with devices like AirTags or the Apple Vision Pro. The 14 tops out Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.3, so if you care about future-proof wireless tech, the 17 is miles ahead. Now let's get to the fun part, cameras, because this is where everyday users will see some of the biggest obvious improvements. The 14 came with a 12 megapixel main sensor and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide. Good for the time, but starting to lag behind now compared to new devices, and the 17 jumps to a 40 megapixel Fusion main camera and a 40 megapixel ultra-wide with macro capability and improved low light performance. The Fusion sensor enables a clean 2x optical quality crop, giving you 0.5x, 1x, and 2x zoom options without sacrificing detail. Smart HDR processing has been improved as well, producing more natural highlights and better skin tones. Night mode is faster, more cleaner, and video remains industry leading with 4K Dolby Vision across all lenses. Apple's also added some fun new features. Dual camera lets you now record from the front and rear cameras simultaneously, ideal for vloggers or reaction videos. There's also updated stabilization for smoother selfie videos, and new photographic styles to fine-tune color and contrast. The front camera itself is all new, an 18 megapixel sensor with a square layout that captures both portrait and landscape shots without needing to rotate the phone. It supports center stage to keep you perfectly framed on video calls and delivers noticeably sharper selfies than the 14's 12 megapixel front camera. The icing on the cake is the fact you can get double the base storage on the 17 as well as standards, allowing you to take more photos and videos. The 17 also includes Apple's action button and camera control, features first introduced on the 16, but the 14 keeps the old school mute switch. The action button is fully programmable, so you can set it to trigger shortcuts, launch the camera, or even start a voice memo with a single press. Camera control acts as a multi-function shutter and zoom slider, giving you more creative control when shooting photos or video. And here's a quick speaker mic test for you guys. So here's a mic test with the iPhone 17. It should sound pretty similar, but here's how it sounds. And here's now a mic test on the iPhone 14 for comparison. So yeah, let me know if there's any differences. All of these changes add up to a dramatically different day-to-day experience. The iPhone 14 still feels quick, and it can absolutely handle the basics, but the 17 smoother display, vastly improved cameras, faster connectivity, and much longer battery life make this phone feel like a massive leap forward. If you're ready to make the jump, I would absolutely say it's worth it. The 14 is still solid and you can keep using it if it works for you, but the 17 is easily the most compelling upgrade Apple's offered in years, so I wouldn't blame you for upgrading. I'll leave links below to buy it. Those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours, guys. Drop a comment below and let me know if you're sticking with your 14 or making the jump to the iPhone 17. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and smash the hype button so you never miss my next deep dive into Apple's latest tech. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.